talk about the border.
Okay.
Let's talk about deportations. Border crossings are at their lowest level ever recorded. Is the border?
Is that good?
Is the border now secure?
Yeah, it's really secure.
It's absolutely
Isn't that good?
secure.
When you say that, doesn't that just sound good? After being abused for years by an incompetent president that allowed people to pour through an open border, criminals from all over the world, murderers and insane people from mental institutions and insane asylums. Isn't it a beautiful thing when you say it's the most secure it's ever been in the history of our country? Isn't that a nice statement?
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth. But some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
What's going on, everyone? It's Talk Kenny here today. We're going to react to an interview with Donald Trump and Kristen Welker, our favorite CNBC host, I believe. That's what the news company she works for. I always get them mixed up with CNN, but because they essentially do the same thing. And as you heard in the intro, she talked about the border. Trump tries to highlight it as a positive. And this is one of the things that about media coverage that I complain a lot. And Trump notices it too. I think a lot of people notice it too, because I had a neighborhood, you know, I'm close with my neighbors here in the neighborhood, and politics somehow came up. And people found out I voted for Trump. So to the dismay of my gay neighbor, he was very mad that he found out a black man voted for Donald Trump. Yes, you heard that correctly. And it got me thinking. I'll probably cover more in detail in the next video, but it got me thinking that how many people's perception are colored exactly by the framings of the media, right? These individuals don't hear a positive thing about Donald Trump. Like, imagine someone associated with Donald Trump gets 96% negative coverage, Elon Musk. And our girl, Kilmar Garcia, gets 96% of positive news. Now, Democrats are slowly moving away from the Garcia thing. And this is why I led in the intro with immigration, is that many Americans knew Donald Trump kept a campaign promise already. And these media people are surprised that he's more popular than the Democratic Party. People are giving Donald Trump time, and the media can't stand it. The media is trying to do this rush to judgment, and I think this is where a lot of my commentary is going to be based on. So we're going to cover more of the video, but I want to give you another snippet of a segment that didn't make it to the broadcast network, and I wish it did, because Donald Trump really highlighted his problem with his media coverage. Let's take a look.
Media is so fake, including, like, even the way you ask questions. Every question is asked in a negative vein. There's a toy company that took a toddler's, whatever, but you don't talk about the fact that gasoline is down at numbers that nobody believes possible. You know why they're down, by the way? Drill, baby, drill. We're drilling like crazy right now.
We try to make sure every question is fair, Mr. President.
Look, every question you ask says a very negative slant.
No, but look, I'm just curious.
I'm fine for responding to you. I don't think you're very difficult at all to respond to be honest with you. But you know what? You should ask some positive things like, sir, it's amazing what you've done with gasoline. Because you know what? Gasoline's big business. A stroller is not big business.
This is how the media gets, like, I think this is one of the reasons that hurt the credibility of the news networks, right? Especially if you do your fact checking. I already did it for you guys. Majority of journalists leans left, right? Only 3.2% of journalists are considered conservative. There's a big bias against conservatives here, right? And through their actions, they highlight this a lot, right? And, so from the clip, for the segment I showed you, Trump kind of highlighted it out and said, hey, look, anything positive that works for me, for instance, all this fear mongering about the stock market, and the stock market already made up all its losses from Liberation Day, April 2nd. But the media is not reporting on that. Why? They only want you to leave off with a negative impression of Donald Trump and what he does. And I believe a lot of people, especially people older than, about say 50, like baby boomers, they're very influenced by what is said on the cable news network. And I think that also goes into why, if you look at some polling, boomers are the age group or the demographic that hate Donald Trump the most, because of the fact that I believe that they just get nothing but a slanted view of Donald Trump. And I think many people are calling this segment a disastrous interview from Christian Welker's point of view. And I kind of want to dive in and see what they're talking about. So let's take a look.
And we're doing really well psychologically. I mean, the fake news was giving me such press on the tariffs. The tariffs are going to make us rich. We're going to be a very rich country.
So let's talk about the tariffs. And I want to ask you about something you said this week. Got a lot of attention. You were at your cabinet meeting. You said, quote, I'm going to quote what you said, maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30.
Yeah.
And maybe the $2 will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally. Are you saying that your tariffs will cause some prices to go up?
No, I think the tariffs are going to be great for us because it's going to make us rich.
But you said some dolls are going to cost more. Isn't that an acknowledgement that some prices will go up?
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls. I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls.
And this is a point I explained before, that one of the reasons I believe that inflation is going down under Trump is because of the tariffs. And the tariffs is slowing down consumer spending. I think that's the real point that we should be taking out of this interview, is that Donald Trump saying, hey, I'm trying to slow down consumer spending just a little bit so we can lower inflation. And I think that a part of me wants to think more practically about this, right? Because to me, I'm giving Donald Trump a year. Donald Trump got 2026. He can do anything he wants. I can see the stock market going like this. I can take all the negativity. I don't care, right? And they already polled Trump supporters. I saw an interview lately that black Trump supporters are not regretting their vote for Trump because we're just sitting here being patient. We're like, yo, let's see what the man got. Biden took 2 years to F up the economy. Let's give Trump at least a year to do something. But the media wants us to do a rush to judgment for what? I believe if you ask the American people, hey, consumer spending slows down, but you lower inflation, would you take that deal? I think many Americans will take that deal. And I think that's what the doll example is supposed to show. But, obviously the media, they want to create negative coverage out of this. So the question, in a way, to me, it seems like you're trying to insinuate that is objectively a bad thing when it's not objective. That's not objective. That's more of a subjective standpoint that you're trying to frame. And that's why I say I can't stand dishonest objectivity. I rather have honest bias than dishonest objectivity. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
Because what we were doing with China was just unbelievable. We had a trade deficit of hundreds of billions of dollars with China.
When you say they could have $3 instead of $30, are you saying Americans could see empty store shelves?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they don't need to have $30. They can have 3. They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
But you're basically saying there could be some supply shortages.
Or he can be saying, hey, we can make higher quality products where you don't need as much volume. Maybe he could be saying that. But this is what I'm talking about with the subjectivity of it. It's not very objective. It's not very factual, right? This is more like, hey, I'm trying to give you a negative perception. Hey, I'm trying to infer something, and I'm trying to get you to kind of confirm that that belief. And Trump's not really going for it. Right. And this is what I'm saying. Too much things are up into interpretation right now. Right. At this point, both sides are making a claim. Left is making a claim that this is bad for the economy. Prices will rise. Right. But they never say that about when they want to raise taxes on the rich. They never say that, oh, rich is going to pass down the increase in taxes on the consumer. The left never want to make that argument. But all of a sudden, Trump does tariffs. And now the left want to make the same argument that capitalists have been making about taxes this entire time. Make it make sense. And this is why I joke around, and J.D. Vance and other Republicans are starting to see that the true leader of the Democratic Party is actually Donald Trump. You don't believe me? All you have to do is look at what the Democrats do. All Donald Trump has to do is say he's for something, and Democrats impulsively react against it and say they're opposed to it. And that's the only agenda that the Democratic Party serves in this day and age. Let's continue with the clip.
We don't have to waste money on a trade deficit with China for things we don't need, for junk that we don't need.
Well, prices are already going up on some popular items.
Whoa.
Tires, strollers.
This is such a dishonest interview already. Prices are down on groceries. Prices are down for oil. Prices are down for all energy. Prices are down at tremendous numbers for gasoline. And let me tell you, when you have the big thing, what he did, he spent like a stupid person, which he was, but he spent like a very stupid person. And that was bad for inflation. But what really killed us with inflation was the price of energy. It went up to $3.90, even $4, and in California, $5 and $6, right? Okay.
People seem to forget that our gas, like we used to pay almost $4 gas. I live in Florida. I paid maybe $3.69 on average based on where I was at. Now it's like $3.09. Like, okay, I saved some cents. But that used to be our gas prices. Like, it seemed like it's so crazy how quickly we forget things. I forgot that we paid that much. It's just like, oh, the gas is $3.19 today. Oh, gas is $3.09 today. On a rare day, oh, gas is $2.97 today. It's so funny. And then in comparison to the Biden years, it's like, this is why I'm saying that people need to look back and actually analyze what they were like, what was going on during the Biden administration. Now it's just Trump. Anything bad happens, oh, Trump's fault. Anything good happens, somehow it's not Trump's fault. Like, make it make sense. And this is what I'm kind of highlighting here is that the media, man, this is why no one trusts it. I think this is why Malcolm X, as much as, there's other things I disagree with Malcolm X, but one of the things I really agree with Malcolm X is the media. The media is the most dangerous entity in the Western Hemisphere. It can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. And you saw with the Alberto Garcia thing. Killmonger or Garcia, I forgot his name, the Salvadorian illegal, right? 96% of the positive coverage may amount to be a Maryland man. Elon Musk, oh my God, he's a dictator. He's evil, right? That's the negative framing of the media. The most dangerous entity in the Western Hemisphere, quoted by Malcolm X, can make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. Make the good bad and the bad good. Democrat Party talking about Donald Trump's a liar, but the same Democratic Party say that men can be women. The irony.
I have it down to $1.98 in many states right now. When you go that much lower on energy, which is ahead of my prediction because I really thought I could get it down into the 250s. We have it down at $1.98 in numerous places. But when you say costs are going up, even mortgage rates are going down.
We're seeing a trend here. And if we follow the trend, and this is where I start getting like annoyed with some people or the media or the Democrats, right? Because they love to present themselves as virtuous and all this stuff. And the funny part is they're so outraged about what Donald Trump is doing, but they seem to forget that Donald Trump ran on this stuff. And the fact that they don't like the stuff that Donald Trump is doing, they're trying to push a narrative about Trump regret. Like, make it make sense. How can someone regret voting for Trump when Trump was very upfront about what his plans were? And many people believe that following Trump's approach was worth the risk. Like the funny part is, I don't expect, like, this is what the funny part when people ask me if I regret my vote for Trump. I ask them, does anything good ever comes without sacrifice? When you want a good job, don't you have to make sacrifices to acquire that good job, to prepare for that good job? When you want something, you already understand there's a cost to getting what you want. If I want a better economy, we have to pay some type of cost, correct? And that's why I say when Donald Trump was saying, don't panic, I was like, yeah, he's right. Don't panic. He's only been there 4 months. But the media's already trying to get people to, oh my God, look, don't you regret your vote for Trump? No, I don't. You haven't even given me enough time to even think about it. He just got started. It's funny, man. It's hilarious. But I'll leave it off right there. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Do you believe the media is trying to get us to rush to judgment, even though the data shows that this is not working? If you ask Americans today, who would do a better job at being president, Donald Trump still win that poll. 12% of them believe that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris would have done the same job. 45% believe that Donald Trump would do a better job as being president, and only 43% believe that Kamala Harris would do a better job as president. This is the numbers right now. But the media keeps trying to get us to rush a judgment call on Donald Trump. Hey, I'll leave it at there. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.